going on, guys? Another week. I was able to put out a video in a week. Record. That's a record right now. But anyways, all in Vegas. I am here at the Golden Nugget. I'm gonna be playing a poker session here. We're gonna play some 1-2 Golden Nuggets in the heart of downtown. Very busy, so it's very hard to find a spot to really film this. The pool's right behind me here. They have actually a really cool pool where you can slide down a slide in between an aquarium. I'm planning on doing that this weekend. But anyways, other vloggers have played here at the Golden Nugget. The 1-2 game here is uncapped, so you can buy in for as much as you want. That's what makes it interesting. There's always tons of action, and with March Madness here, there's a lot of action to be had at the poker table. Everyone's just talking about basketball, talking about the sports bets that they did, and just having a good time playing poker. This casino is a 24K select card, so get that if you can. And this is also home of the Grand Poker Series. Alongside the World Series of Poker, they host their own poker event here in the ballroom, I believe. And there are a lot of different tournaments and different games that you could play. They have short deck, PLO, no limit hold'em, limit, mixed games, and buy-ins anywhere from 100 up. So definitely good if you're playing lower staked buy-ins. And I'm definitely going to be playing some of the 300K guarantee or 200K guarantees here. So let's hop straight into the poker, and maybe in the next mid-session update I'll walk around the Fremont and check it out. So let's jump straight in. Oh, and I also brought 2 bullets. So that's all I could bust for this one, so I can't go in deeper, but we're gonna play some really good poker tonight. I can feel it. Let's do a quick little mid-session update where it's a little bit quiet. Probably in the game for about like 1.5 hours, and the game's pretty good. I'm playing pretty good, winning some, losing some. I'm about even stack, so when I go back I'm gonna be grinding. I'm gonna take it upon myself to try and walk every hour or so, take a walk around Fremont. Fremont always has interesting characters that walk just downtown in general. So it's really fun to people watch. If you're able to get a drink, go sit down outside at one of the bars outside and just watch people, you'll see some interesting stuff, especially the performers that are in the you know, along the Fremont experience. It's definitely a sight to see, different from the Strip. Alright guys, I'm in the game for about 2.5 hours. I actually had to go outside to the valet because it's too damn loud inside. I can't do any hand histories, but I wanted to talk to you guys about this particular hand I got into. The villain in this hand is a player who just sat down, probably didn't play more than an orbit, bought in for $100. I'm in the big blind and he's in the small blind. There folds around to middle position limps. The player next to him limps as well. Folds around to the small blind who completes, and I check my option. The flop comes 10-8-7 with 2 diamonds. Pretty good flop for us in our range. We have 2 overs, we have running diamonds, and we have a gut shot straight draw. The small blind decides to bet out $15. I'm not too sure if I should have raised, but I decided to just call because I wanted to pick up some turn equity. Turn brings the 9 of diamonds. So I have an open-ended straight flush draw. I binked my queen high draw, queen high straight, and now the small blind decides to bet out $30. Nothing for me to do but just to call. I could have raised right here, but I wanted to keep a lot of his Jack X type hands in his range, just in case he wants to fire on the river. The river brings the 4 clubs, so a total brick, and he decides to shove, and the shove was about pot size bet. And I didn't really nit roll, I just wanted to think about how many flush combos does he have in his range, and how many times is he doing this with a jack high straight. So I figured that he'd probably take the same line with a jack high straight on this particular board, knowing that I probably could have raised a flush draw on the flop. So when the front door flush came through, he probably made the decision already to shove all rivers if he made his straight. So I go ahead and I call it off for about $95.
Great. Great.
And sure enough, he shows Jack 9, which is a flop straight, and we're good with Jack Queen. So that one was a good hand. Had to think about that one a little bit, but I felt very comfortable in calling that hand off. But other than that, I'm in the game for like two and a half hours. We're up about $100. We're gonna go back inside. I'm just taking a walk, taking a break. We're gonna play a little bit more. Hopefully we can keep running it up. So, be back. I'm walking around the Fremont third break or fourth break, I don't know how many now. I'm in the game for about 4 hours, 4.5 hours. I think I'm gonna turn in soon. I'm still on my initial buy-in. I got into one hand against the super tilty player, but I was barely able to extract a whole bunch of value from his pocket jacks, had pocket queens. Talk about that more when I'm at home. Last hand I want to talk about, we're gonna go over this hand pretty quickly. The villain in this hand is actually a sort of a tilty player. He was a regular, the dealers knew who he was, and he was just getting a little bit over emotional during certain hands. So this was definitely a dynamic type of way that I played this hand. But we're sitting about $250 effective. I'm on the button with pocket queens. There are 3 limps ahead of me. I decided to bump it up to $21. Pretty tilty player decides to call it off, and a middle position limp calls it off as well. The flop comes 5-5 deuce. Checks it over to me, and I decide to bet $45. The big blind quickly calls, and the middle position player folds. The turn brings the 3 of hearts, and I decide to make a play based on the dynamic of how the table was going. This particular player was sort of getting bullied by another player, so he was tilting a lot and calling off a lot of overbets pretty light. I saw him call off an overbet of $100 into a $50 pot, and he called it off with like middle pair and low pair, and he was consistently doing this against this particular player. So I decided to shove all in for $174, thinking that he would probably call me off pretty light, all of his overpairs, and sometimes ace high, maybe other pairs, maybe a gut shot, something like pocket fours or something. Sure enough, he actually says he usually would call since he stuck a whole bunch of money, and he ends up folding. So he made this whole spiel about, yeah, I usually will call this, I'm stuck a whole bunch, and he just folds. And later on in the session, he told me he folded pocket jacks, but definitely, sometimes I'd probably bet a little bit less just to extract more value on the river. But for this particular hand, I wanted to sort of pick on how the dynamic of the game was going during that time, so. But yeah, I'm still on my initial buy-in. I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna play a couple more orbits. If I don't pick anything up or if I don't find any good spots, I'll probably turn in. But it was a great session. I had a lot of fun, and I knew that, you know, let me see if I can edge out this win. I knew that if I went into this with a positive mindset that some of the run bad will go away. Yeah, this is usually where they play the series when it's out here. This is where it's set up and stuff like that. It's not in the poker room, it's in that ballroom. And it's an okay setup. Right, wrapping up the session. Played for a good, actually, I'll be able to check it right here. 6 hours. 6 hours and 11 minutes. The last part of the session, I was getting a little card debt. I did wake up with a few hands, and then people started leaving out of nowhere. We were in for $200 and we cashed out for $295. And you know what? I'm actually pretty happy about it. I'm not happy because of how much money I won. $95 isn't a lot comparable to the Green Valley Ranch when I lost $400. But the reason why I'm so happy is because I played really well. I made correct folds, and all in all, like, yeah, I wasn't getting a lot of good cards, but the spots that I were getting cards, I was maximizing my value and getting a lot of money when I needed to. So my big hands paid off, and I was able to squeeze out a win this time, and that's great. I'm always happy with squeezing out a win, and it just helps me continue the grind. And we're gonna keep going. I will be back at the Golden Nugget in a couple of months for their Grand Poker Series. But other than that, I'll think about where I wanna go next week and see if I could get this one out to you guys soon now. In the next video, I do wanna talk about some WSOP plans that I'm doing and some of the preparation that I do to prepare for the tournament series. Especially when it's not the WSOP, I try to play cash. But in the weeks coming to the WSOP, I start playing a lot more online poker, a lot more tournaments, just to get myself ready. But as always, guys, thank you so much for the support. Thanks for all the comments you guys have been leaving me. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button below. Thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Just remember, guys, it's not about how much money you win, it's if you're playing well, you're getting it in good. You know, sometimes the lower percent wins. If you're 60-40 favorite, or 40% will win. If you're 80-20, 20% will win. You just gotta be on the right side of variance, and that's why I'm definitely okay with squeezing out this $95 win at the Golden Nugget. Oh, and a quick tip, if you guys are planning to park in the garage, take your ticket to the poker room when you're playing and they'll validate it for you so you don't have to pay. That's another perk of coming here to the Golden Nugget. No parking fees.